Right now, Metro Police are desperately searching for the person or people responsible for killing a man and a woman.
And I got a male down in the middle of the street.
Breaking news now, a triple shooting leaves 2 dead.
Never expect for somebody to tell you your loved one was murdered.
This Labor Day will mark 42 years that have haunted the St. Cloud family.
30 years. 30 years this family has waited for answers.
A couple months go by, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you really start to struggle with the idea that the case might not get solved and that somebody might get away with murder.
It's very unfortunate that we have any cold cases at all, and certainly unfortunate that we have as many as we do. And that's why Ryan's work and the work of Project Cold Case is so important.
Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Ryan Backman, founder and executive director of Project Cold Case, and this is Freda Washington-Perez, our lead victim advocate here at Project Cold Case. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about case submissions because in our office we deal with a variety and a wide spectrum of submissions almost daily because we just looked before we started this podcast or this Facebook Live. We're up to almost 900 cases have been submitted to us by family members, which is, our goal is to allow those families a place to submit their loved one's case so that we can raise awareness for it. But some of them are easier for us to navigate and to help raise awareness for than others, and we realize we've never really just sat down and told you what it is we're looking for and why we need that information. So we felt like this would be a good topic to discuss today so that anybody out there that hasn't submitted a family and wants to, they will know why we ask the questions we ask, what information is really important to us, and why it's important to us. And Freda, when a case is submitted through our website, I guess we should just start there. Families have an opportunity and an option to submit cases directly to us. So the way to do that is to log on to our website, which is not Facebook. Facebook has a lot of information, but our website has a ton of information. So if you go to our website, which is projectcoldcase.org, that's the homepage, what you see on your screen right there. So every week we try to every week have a new cold case spotlight that comes up. You'll see the last 3 that we have spotlighted, last 3 cases we've spotlighted right there on your screen. David Barwick, October 14th, Bryant Crocker, October 21st, and Ronnie Johnson yesterday, October 28th. So those rotate every week, whichever spotlight we have. But if you're coming to our page to submit a case, you can go to the top ribbon there where it says contact all the way to the far right. Click that, or you don't just hover over that, and you will see submit a case show up below. You want to click the submit a case. That takes you to this webpage, which is an intake form, so to speak, which includes your name, email, address, phone number, ways we can get in touch with you if we have more questions or if we have opportunities to feature your loved one in a media, newspaper, television, a special project we are working on. That's why we need your contact information, your relationship to the victim. And let's talk a little bit about that for relationship to victim, because when somebody submits this, everybody in our office gets a copy of that submission sent to their email. But you pretty much take the lead on the intake of these new cases.
And assuming that they found our website, they went to the contact, and they're doing a case submission. Some of the very first things we look over just to establish how to move forward with this case submission is the relationship to the victim. I know a lot of the information we have, most of it is public record or knowledge, but we kind of work with families in a more intimate and, balanced nature. And so we want to ensure that all of our families are submitted by someone directly from that family. We don't want to, have families looking at their loved ones and they weren't aware of our services.
We love that friends and neighbors and coworkers care enough to want these victims on our website, and for us to be able to help those families. That is a wonderful thing, because one of our biggest goals is to get people that haven't been directly impacted, necessarily lost a direct relative to murder. We need that engagement, and we want that engagement, but we also need the family's permission.
Exactly.
We, like Freda just said, the last thing we would ever want to do is re-victimize a family by them stumbling upon our website and seeing something that may not have been completely accurate information, whether it's we've had names misspelled on our submission forms. We've had dates wrong. And those kinds of simple little things like that maybe a neighbor doesn't remember the exact date, and they take a guess on the date of death. That could have a negative impact on the family when they stumble upon our site. So
that's kind of one of the first initial things I look at, just to see who's bringing this case to us. So that part is very important to establish the relationship to the victim. Another aspect that we look for is the narrative. We're looking for specific details, what's happened, based off, the family's interpretation and what they're willing to give us. There's also an icon where they can attach news articles, which we encourage, especially if the cases are older, or, definitely with our older cases, we do encourage any news clippings to be attached, because a lot of times, we're having to spend time in office looking for those to verify. So that'll definitely help us out in ensuring that we're getting back to you promptly.
Yeah, take your time when you do this. I think sometimes families find our site and they get excited, which we were happy about, but they'll fill it out without all the information, or and you can submit things later, follow up with more pictures or newspaper articles, but the easiest way for us, because we do get we on average we're getting a submission a day or maybe every other day, and it's really hard to keep up with those if they come in incomplete, and then we have to wait a week for more information to come in, and wait another week for more information to come in. So our site's not going anywhere. When you find us, get all of that information together in one place, and then sit down when you actually have time to fill out all the information and complete that narrative as detailed as possible. And what we mean by that is, we know your loved one was murdered, but where did it happen? When did it happen? What time of day?
The
agency that's investigating it. What were the circumstances surrounding the murder? Were there witnesses? Are there people in the community that you feel like have information but they're not coming forward? Is it a case, a whodunit case where nobody knows who the suspect or perpetrator is? Was there a 911 call made? Who were the responding agencies? Who is the current investigator? When was the last time you spoke to an investigator? As much information, not just about the actual incident itself, but what has happened in the years since. Was there physical evidence? Has it been tested? When was the last time it was tested? If you know that information. All of that stuff is helpful for us, because our goal is to take what you provide us and then eventually turn it into a spotlight where we can share the submission and the story with as much information as possible, with the goal of reaching someone that may have information and then them coming forward. And so, we get case submissions sometimes that literally just say, found dead in car, drive-by. We've received cases before that just say drive-by in the description, in the narrative. And, was he in a house? Was he at a park? Was she driving a car? What is there a description of the car in the drive-by? All of that stuff is so information and so valuable for us. When you are pasting, when you're writing that in the narrative, you don't have to copy and paste a newspaper article. just copy the link
Yeah,
to the
just the
newspaper article and put those links in there, and we will click those links and go read those articles as well. We do encourage you to provide that information, that there are news stories out there. If there are, you can provide, if it's an older case before Google and the internet, you can provide scans of your physical clippings. That stuff is so valuable to us, and it really allows us to proceed quicker. So once that submission comes into us, we have to verify the information and vet the information before we can put your loved one's picture on our website, before we can do the weekly recap submissions on our Facebook page. And in order to do that, the more information, the better.
And definitely be, aware and double check, because I've had submissions where, the contact information wasn't there, or it wasn't accurate. So, I have to sometimes wait for them to call in to me, because some families don't provide a phone number, they'll just provide their email.
Yeah.
And so
we're not going to sell your information. We're not going to give it away. I understand, there could be some hesitation in putting your contact information in there, but we just can't move forward without accurate contact information. There's lots of reasons why we want to have that contact information. We want to be able to utilize your loved one's story when opportunities arrive, and whether it's making a deck of cold case playing cards, or talking with a production company for a TV show. Like, if we don't have a way of getting in touch with you, then your loved one is going to miss out on that opportunity. Your loved one's case is going to miss out on that opportunity. So
I would definitely ensure they, call in periodically as well, just to ensure your contact information is updated for those opportunities.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes we run into that as well.
If you move or change your phone number, let us know. We like to reach out to you on or around the anniversary of your loved one's murder. And, we can't do that if we don't have contact information. So that's, those things, are extremely important for us to be able to help. And so we just want to tell you why. What are some of the other things we deal with?
I would say picture quality.
So pictures have always been an issue. We have received almost 900 case submissions by family members, and we have 650 pictures on our website. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of, and those aren't all because they didn't have pictures. Some of those cases were cases that we just don't specialize in, whether they were suspicious deaths or ruled undetermined or suicide, and we had no way of confirming that, or whether there were multiple submissions. So we have some families that think, they tell everybody in the family, I found this site, Project Cold Case, go here and submit my brother or my son or my parent. And then we get 8 submissions in a row that are all the same thing. And that it doesn't help us go any faster. Sometimes it slows the process. Although we do appreciate having more than one contact with families. So if you know of someone else in the family that wants to be contacted when we reach out, you can submit that information in the narrative to us as well, with their phone number and address. But getting back to picture quality, we understand that a lot of our cases were not in the time where everybody had a cell phone and a cell phone camera that's as good as a lot of professional cameras were, at some point. So we know that you may not have great photos. We know that you may not have a lot of photos. We know that the photos may be in storage in the attic, at your sibling's house or your son's house or your daughter's house. We get that. We do understand, and we don't want to make it more difficult on you. But when we're trying to reach people that have not been affected by murder and convince them that this is an important cause and that they should be watching our spotlights, reading our spotlights, and trying to help identify killers, we want them to see pictures that they can relate to. That they can look at and say, that looks like my parent or my child or my cousin or my neighbor or my coworker. And if there's no image, or it's a silhouette of a man or woman, you're not going to get that connection with the public that we're looking for. So here's some examples of some really good photos that were that came in through case submissions. It doesn't have to be the Olin Mills portrait, that you see there. It doesn't have to be, suit and tie, but you can capture the emotion of a young child, as you see there. You have a good quality. I mean, that picture in the middle, I remember came in almost too big. It was like a 8 megabyte pixel, and it was huge. It doesn't have to be that, but let me tell you, when we have a high quality, high resolution image, we can do a lot more with it. You see I always see the banners behind us. It's unfortunate that some of the images on our banners are not high quality, and when people see these, when we take these banners out into the public and they're looking through, they're immediately going to be drawn to the crisp images, that they can see, and not so much the ones that are blurry. Like I said, we understand if it's the only picture you have, we're going to work with it, whether it's from a newspaper clipping. We've had those, from the funeral programs, we've used those. We've used driver's license photos, but there's photos we are not going to use. We're not going to use autopsy photos.
Yes.
We've
received some of those. We prefer to, have a photo that's closer to the time of death. But we don't need any photos of the autopsy or things like that.
The deceased. That's not really what we're looking for. We want to show, again, we're thinking in terms here of we want somebody to see that picture and connect with them, so we are looking for pictures where people are with their friends and with their family, where they're smiling, where they're engaged, not necessarily when they're already deceased. And we're not trying to sensationalize these cases, or make them more horrific than they already are. We just really are looking for ways to engage the public and get people to care, and one of the ways to do that is through photos. So some other things that aren't what we're looking for and make our lives more difficult. Taking photos of photos, and particularly when that photo is in a frame and has a glass has a glass in front of it. It creates reflections. Here's a picture. This is my dad, so we don't want to embarrass anybody or call anybody out specifically, but and this one actually is not as bad as some of the ones we get, where either the sun reflecting or the flash reflecting from the camera washes out the entire victim's face or parts of their head. Or they've taken it from a
distance, so it's really not clear for whatever reason.
Take the time to take that photo out and scan it if possible. If you have to take a picture of a picture, take it out from behind the glass. Maneuver your camera, lay it flat, maneuver your camera so that there's not a reflection coming off of the picture. Snap it, and then use your phone to crop it. Use to crop the picture in a little bit. As you'll see in this another example of things we get sometimes are screenshots. So I just Googled my dad's name and pulled up the first story that came up and screenshot it, and you can see there how much charge I have on my battery, what provider I use,
and we get these
what
often.
time, and we get these often, and honestly, it's very hard to take that and then us crop it, because it's already screenshots are not high resolution. So then when we're taking that, and we've got to get an even smaller version of that to be able to fit it into our frame. And here's an example of the frame that we use. So that's a standard size frame that we take everybody's picture and put in that frame for our website, for the Faces of Unsolved Homicide page. And that transitions onto these banners that you always see behind us. So we're looking for a picture that will fit in there, that is, gives us a little bit of flexibility to zoom in or out. And so like when you have like group photos, keep in mind, you can send group photos that we might be able to use in our spotlight, but
For
we
later.
can't use it, in these pictures. That's going to be, the main profile picture, so to speak, for your loved one's case.
And sometimes when we do get the group photos, even if they're older, there's no identifying. I have to email back and forth which one is the victim.
Which one is?
So I guess they assume we know, but if you do use a group photo, it really has to be one that captures the victim. If that's the only one you have, that we can probably crop. But it's best to try to get the individual, in a picture where they're by themselves.
Yeah, and kind of, so extreme close-ups when it's right up on somebody's face, that makes it really hard to put in these square frames without making them look like they have a giant head and nothing else. So we like to have the ability to use Photoshop and use our staff and skills to make the best picture possible for the site.
Going back to the group photos, sometimes in the cases where we have like a family or multiple victims, we prefer to have each individual picture of each victim, and sometimes the family just submits group shots, and we do prefer just to have the individual so we can give each loved one their own profile.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times we get pictures that people have manipulated to create like angel wings behind them or a halo over their head, or it says justice for so and so on the picture. And again, those are great for your Facebook pages and your memorial pages, but for Project Cold Case, those don't really work. We try not to put justice for one person on a picture that we can't put justice on every picture. Our goal is to receive justice for everybody submitted to us. So again, those pictures are great for your memorial pages and your Facebook justice pages. But when you're submitting them, it makes it difficult for us to crop that stuff out or try to clone it out and create an adequate picture for us. We do prefer, though, give us a number of pictures, give us options. Eventually, when we do that spotlight on the case, we will try to insert another picture or two or a newspaper clipping or something like that into the story. So I'd rather you submit more pictures than less. We'd rather you submit more information than less. It just helps us along the way. But when you're providing that information, remember to provide accurate information and not so much like what you think happened or what you believe happened. Assumptions, sometimes we call law enforcement and we're like, yes, we have this victim that was shot in a drive-by, and then the police say it wasn't a drive-by, and it was something else. It was an argument, a disagreement, so just give us facts,
because we do verify.
We do verify, and we can't and won't publish suspects' names that have never been charged, even if you are sure of the person that killed your loved one. We can't risk the liability in the lawsuit. If they haven't been charged, it's because there's not enough evidence, and that means there is enough evidence to sue us for printing their name as a suspect. So that information, again, we're not investigating these cases, so we don't need to know
I put that in all of our emails and in our follow-up phone calls, because initially I do reach out and speak with the families, but we always ensure they know we don't investigate. We simply are promoting and providing awareness. But I would like to go back to the pictures. We would love if our families would submit pictures from the lifespan, because we never know how we're going to use them later to promote awareness. And so just having them, like you said, is better. We just don't need it from that one particular time in life. You can submit a wide variety of content.
Absolutely. Pictures as a child, pictures at birthdays, holidays, pictures growing up, pictures from high school, or football player, cheerleader, yearbook
it just helps
photo.
Us connect, that victim,
exactly.
Tell the story.
We want people to be able to relate, and so that's So what we want to avoid is photos that maybe have obscene gestures or text on them. We've had that before.
Maybe clothing or background. We know everybody has a life and they want to have fun, but maybe that's not the picture you want to forever reflect your loved one.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, again, we're trying to reach the masses here, and we don't want to turn somebody off because somebody has a middle finger on their hat, or something like that. And it could be something simple, but again, like when we're begging the community and the public to care about these cases and to share them, they may not be willing to share that image on their Facebook page if it has, some obscene or vulgar display on their shirt, hat, or behind them or whatever with their hands. So remember that this is also going to be how your loved one is seen. Every time we take these banners out, anytime we do any kind of public outreach or have the opportunity. So choose your photos wisely, and then know that if you do have a problem submitting the case, or you don't have a photo, or you have to wait for your sister to finish her unpacking from her move to get the photo albums out to get those to us, that's okay. We're okay. Just communicate that with us. Let us know. We also, this is probably a good opportunity to mention, like, our office does some archiving services. So we have the ability, if you are in town or if you trust the U.S. Postal Service to mail us stuff, I would be cautious if those are the only photos and videos you have. But if you're local and you want to drop that stuff by, we can scan all of those images. Don't bring us thousands of images, but if you bring us, 15, 20 images, we can scan them. If you have videos, we can convert those digitally, and then give you all of that stuff back. And so, that may be something that, holidays are coming up. If we have the time and you want to drop those off and do that for one of your family members, we might be able to scan the images and video and stuff like that.
And really, that idea came about just because we have had families that didn't have any pictures or anything, that they can present to us. And that's always unfortunate. And we're like, that's the best way to help our families preserve their loved ones and their memories moving forward.
Yeah, it's really, it's disheartening when a family comes to us and we do a Google search and there's no information on the case and there's no pictures online. And, how is somebody that has information going to search for that? So we want to create a digital footprint and archive of these cases. And we've had horror stories of people's houses burning down and them losing the photos they had of their loved ones.
Floods.
Or people keep all of their photos on their phone, and then their phone is broken or lost or stolen, and they don't have access to that stuff anymore. This gives you an opportunity. We can scan it. We'll have copies of it. You'll have copies of it. We can use it in our future spotlights and on the website. And then if something unfortunate were to happen, you could reach out to us and we could get those back to you. Clint,
And
do you think of anything else?
I do want to add, I do have a folder for my families that have submitted their loved ones to me, but they have yet to reach back out and, finish that submission as far as providing all the information, whether they're just, don't have the time, or they're just like putting it in our lap for now and going to revisit. But I do keep the submissions in a pending folder should they come back and want to complete those.
Yeah, we reach out, and if you got busy and forgot, and it's 6-8 months later, we still have that information. We're not going to punish you because you got busy. Life got in the way. Reach back out. Sometimes it takes a while to track down that picture you're looking for and get it. But we're here to help, and we're here to get that information out there on your loved one. So we hope this has been helpful. That's the information we need and why we need it, and how you can help us better promote your loved one's case, cold case, and try to get that information, back out into the public so that somebody can view it, see it, and hopefully call in with a new tip, or lead in your loved one's case. We're closing in on Facebook we're closing in on 10,000 likes on Facebook, and anybody out there that runs a page, a business page, an organization page on Facebook, that you have a reach. And for everybody that views your page and everybody engages in your post, it just gets spread through more and more people and reaches more and more people. So that's our goal, is to reach people with our posts, reach that one person that may have information that could solve a case. And we always say we may not have to go through 1 million people, or we may not need 1 million people to view it, but we may have to go through 1 million to get to that one that is the one with information. So, like our page, share our page, engage with our posts so that we reach more people. And we know that the families appreciate that. And when it's your family's turn, they'll be sharing yours, just like you shared theirs, and we're all one big family trying to help each other out. So if you've got friends and family that haven't liked the Project Cold Case Facebook page, please share it with them and ask them to do so. And we're just going to keep growing and keep sharing and keep raising awareness for your loved ones. If you have any questions, reach out to us via this thread on Facebook Live. You can email our office. You can call our office, 904-525-8080. The easiest email is probably info@projectcoldcase.org, but Freda's email is fredawp@projectcoldcase.org, and mine is ryanb@projectcoldcase.org. So reach out to us if you have any questions. Call us and let us help you get those cases submitted and get your loved one on our site. Take a second to watch our remembrances this week of the families and the victims that were lost during this week at some point in time. And join us again next week. Thanks again for watching.
you.